Welcome to the 100K Savage Geese retrospective video. We've been doing projects for 2.5 years. Some were absolute garbage, and some, or at least I'm told, were pretty good for internet standards. Now we just released a video to coincide with the 100 subscriber mark, and it's just a number, but we did the LC 500 video, and before that we did a live stream. So if you haven't seen those, check it out. This will make a lot more sense. But what this is it's an addition to that. This is going to show you kind of my process of how I made the LC 500 video, which is a lot like how I make the rest of them. The second half will be me and Turbowski answering all the questions that we had from the Q&A, and hopefully you kind of get a better picture of what goes into all of this. So enjoy. All right, let's get into it. First off, I use my phone a lot because that's how I'm able to operate the camera, get the settings the way that I want it without having a camera person. So you'll see that, that's why you see it. This is how 95% of all the videos are done. I use Adobe Premiere, I use a PC to edit, a high-powered PC with NVIDIA Quadro processing, 8-core CPUs, NVMe drives, and I need as much power as possible because now I'm using a GH5 to shoot, and that shoots at 400 megabits per second, all intra, and it takes a ton of processing power to deal with it, and it's not perfect. So what I do is I import all my footage. Basically every video, this is my workflow. This is all the folders that I've created in Premiere. You'll see every single folder is an individual thing for my mental sorting purposes. Gauges, Tascam, which is my sound recorder. This is the drive folder, which shows your different primary camera angles from the primary cameras. This is the exterior folder, which you can see it takes a while for the thumbnails to load. It's just a lot of power to deal with it. And this is the exterior shot. So I know all my exterior footage is in these bins or folders, so I know where to find them, where to edit them and sort them out. The next folder that I'm gonna pull up here is my Sony cams. These are kind of my savior B-roll cams where I can't fit big cameras. So I have all those. This is my gauge cam. I've started to use this more, showing the gauge cluster because they're basically all this electronic shit now. Tascam is all my sound clips from either exhaust, engine notes, back seat, sound recording. The next one is my interior commentary. I sort commentary by interior and exterior. So this is all my interior commentary. And often there could be 100 takes. So I have to go through and cut out the shitty ones. This folder is the outside drive, which is all of my exterior shots of the car driving by and lead follow. Again, a lot of this is redundant, but I have to sort this because I have so much footage when I get done with the project, especially big ones. This is a huge one, my music folder. Now usually I record all the instruments on a MIDI track using PreSonus, and I have instrument packs, and I have to physically compose all my tracks or have music tracks and loops that I have to build songs together. So I keep that in a folder. And I think, what else do we got here? Just more of the same thing. Final Thoughts is in there, and I record that long after the video so I have a better perspective, and I do it after I edit. So on the computer itself, I have 3 drives, 2 NVMe and 1 solid state. And this spread across 3 drives because the project was so big. So all in all, this project's about 600-700 gigabytes just for one video, and it's maxed out all my drive space. So I can't do anything else. I copy all this when I'm done to a external physical drive just to be safe. Now when we look at this, the timeline, this is where all the footage goes. And if you're editing, you know all this already, but this is kind of how I do it. This is the intro, and all this green is individual instruments, waveforms for all the instruments. This is the drum track I recorded. So we build up with drums, and then you build I manually adjust the levels to bring the sound in, drop it down. And I do this a lot in Premiere because I want to make edits on the fly. If I do it in PreSonus, then I'm kind of locked in. So at least with this, I have the instrument layers and I can do it. So each part is somewhat synchronized to the video. But that's the part. I could only have violins here or strings or drums, and it has to build out and it has to be cohesive. This intro took me about 16 hours to do 1 minute, and most of that was audio editing and music. So this is why I don't do intros a lot. It takes way too much time. The next part is the exterior. So this is the new format. Exterior first and then interior. And all of this is kind of the B-roll, either pictures, titles, This is the main video footage in the middle with all the audio, and it's all mixed. There's transition audio, so you don't hear a change in audio tone in between. This is music tracks underlying, either carry it, slow it down, pick it up, break up my annoying voice. And then, of course, transitional parts in between to change from if I'm going from one angle to another. It's just a lot of detail work, and I spent a ton of time with this. And when you say, well, the production's good, a lot of it is attention to detail and covering your ass with B-roll. I know exactly how I'm going to shoot. I know how I'm going to do it. I know what I want to talk about. And part of knowing that plan up front, I know exactly how I'm going to edit the video together. And because I know that, I know exactly what to film. There's not a lot of waste. I can see in these folders, I've used almost every single piece of B-roll that I chose. So this is my video shot of me doing interior commentary, and I color correct everything. So this is me toggling color correction on and off. And I don't do a ton of color correction. I do the basics. Shadows, highlights, levels, and contrast. And I do tweak color if it's really overly neutral. You'll see here the color's been corrected here. You can see the levels that I've adjusted. And I do it because I shoot in a very neutral color profile on my camera. It's very flat. I don't shoot an S-Log or V-Log because I don't want to color correct the entire project. It's totally unnecessary. I'm a huge believer in trying to shoot what you see as real as possible. Don't rely on color correction for everything. I like natural light. I like doing all that. In the shop segment, same thing. B-roll up the ass. Me and Scott talking takes a ton of time. And then the transition from the shop to the driving part. And in the case of the LC500, I'm doing this on a lot of cars, this is the first part of the driving bit. So I have a hood-mounted camera, a side-mounted camera, the Sony cams, audio recording from the Tascam recorder of exhaust, interior, separate from my voice. This all has to be mixed together in all these layers. And I know a lot of people like Matt Fair's videos. His one take because it's all one take. This is exactly how I film my driving bits. Every camera is synchronized together, including the sound. So when you're seeing me doing the driving bits, even though there's like 10 cameras sometimes, that's all real time. It's not fakely edited. I don't put a camera outside that's not really happening. Now, obviously, the drive-bys and stuff are not real time with the driving part, but you'll see me do transitional work with the audio, trying to blend it all together so you don't hear a change in tone, that the engine sounds consistent, my voice isn't consistent, it's not too high or low, and it's not perfect, but again, I spend at least, on this car specifically, I spent at least 20 hours on the editing part of just the driving stuff. It was so complicated. And a lot of it is audio, syncing audio, different audio tracks, the gauge cluster, all the little things that go into it. It's a shitload of work doing this, and you have to be passionate about it. Otherwise, it's gonna get old really fast. But really, the rest of it's the same. Tons of video layers. Some of them I just hide because I don't know which ones I'm gonna use. But again, it's just a lot of audio mixing. Same thing with the final thoughts, transitions, titles, music, all that crap. So really, the editing part is after everything's shot. I have a ton of footage. I mostly know what I want to shoot, but a lot of it is just raw shit like this. My drone shots, I don't use a lot of them. This might be a 10-minute long shot, and I'm hoping to get it centered, framed right, smooth, so there's no jerking, no vibration in the camera, no movement of the gimbal or the drone. It's, for me, I'm very, very anal about the shots I choose, certain cars specifically, and it depends on what I'm doing. And most of the other footage here is all raw. So this is on a gimbal, and this is a shot that totally failed. I'm on the ground practicing coming up, raising myself up, and I'm using these cars as like tests, focus points, and I'm gonna follow the car, and that's what I wanna do when Steve comes by in the LC500. So, okay, I know he's coming, he's on the microphone or on the walkie-talkies. I'm down, I come up, I should start my pan here, but oh shit, I screwed it up, and that shot's ruined. So now he's got to drive by again. And again, a lot of this is just like that. My exterior shots, it's just me out in the freezing cold or in the extreme heat. And I'm looking at natural light. I'm not, yes, morning and night are the best times to shoot, but I'm using enough angles, light, reflections. This is how I focus on my shots, and it's just me standing out here in the middle of nowhere most of the time. I listen to a lot of music, try to get myself calm because, you know, I work full-time job and then I got to come on and do this on the side. It can get very taxing mentally to spend hours and hours and hours doing this. So it's just, again, it's knowing like the vision of what I want to do. It's become a lot easier, and it's definitely easy when you have cars that are interesting. And this is my Chicago shots, and this took probably 15 hours to get all these shots between driving out there, getting them, editing them, going back again a second time to get coverage. So it's this stuff, to do it right, takes a ton of time. So that's enough with the editing part. I hope that was kind of an insight on how I do stuff, and we'll get on to the next part.